Okay, because at one point, a Hell's Angel leader got killed.
Yes.
And that was somehow related to what you were doing?
Yes. We never pinned it on them, as far as I know. Maybe later years, I never heard that we did, but during that's their arch rivals. There was a Bridgeport, Connecticut Hell's Angel president for the Bridgeport, Connecticut chapter, I guess. Apparently the Hell's Angels was riding up the highway and a green truck pulled up next to him and just opens fire, kills the president, injures another Hell's Angel, but that guy didn't die, and that's how we found out it was a green truck with Florida plates. But through our case, we knew that outlaws from Florida were up in the area because they were hanging with the Taunton and Brockton, Massachusetts outlaws. So we knew some of the names. And at that time, the Boston office had a wiretap going on several members, and I might even call in to help light up the wire, as we say, tickle the wire. Call up and be talking to them. They're like, "Hey man, things are high here right now. If you come, you need to be strapping." I go, "Well, I'd have to pack that. I'm flying, but I'd rather not bring any heat on me. If I come to town, you think you could hook me up with a piece and a vest?" And they were like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Well, at one point, they actually thought that you were an informant.
Yes.
You got strip searched?
Yep, at gunpoint.
Okay. But you actually had recording equipment on you.
Oh, I was wired. Yeah, I was wired pretty heavily because this is a year and a half in. So the first year and a half, they find out I'm an international theft ring, maybe even the leader of it, right? I have truck drivers that work for me, coming from Mexico or whatever. So it started with them reporting vehicles stolen, their own vehicles. They'd say, "Oh, I got stolen." Report that to insurance. They get the insurance money. I would pay a stolen price for those vehicles. Started gaining their trust. Mm-hmm. After several jobs, then it became, "Hey, we just carjacked somebody. We took this at gunpoint. We almost killed the dude. This thing is screaming hot. It needs to get out of here. I got it. Don't worry about it." We load it up on a semi, take it out, kind of thing. Then it became, we'll just stealing it. I got an F-350 quad cab diesel. Just freaking took it off the lot. All right, I'll pay you for that. Get rid of that. So as that starts going, you start gaining more trust, and then there's fights, and they see how you behave in fights, and there was gun talk and grenade and RPG talk, but I never got my hands on any. But it was always all this criminal stuff going on. And by the way, the first time I really talked to Joe Doggs, the president, as soon as he found out I was from McAllen on the border, his next question was, "How much can you get a kilo of cocaine for down there?" Mm. So you're like, all right, I guess we're talking dope. But so we do all these jobs. I'm gaining their trust. Several of the members had been hounding me about drugs from the moment they found out I was down on the border. So at a year and a half in, the FBI, we had a DEA agent attached to the case team too, Nancy, and the United States Attorney's Office decided, hey, let's give them what they're asking for. So it takes a long time to lay this out so it doesn't look suspicious. But what I let them learn is that, yes, I used to be involved in the dope game. How come the white guy never gets cut out of the Mexican cartel ring? Because I'm the guy who's got the contact at the port of entry and the contact at the checkpoint. I'm the one that can guarantee you getting through there. And I knew all about that because we worked public corruption in the FBI. And I knew about the cases that were going on. Just to turn your head at the checkpoint, $10,000 to $15,000, just let you go through. So now it's a year and a half, and we lay out this whole plan that we're going to do a drug deal, basically drug protection. My contacts from the cartel are going to bring a dope load up. People from Canada, cartel, are going to come down, and we're going to do this drug deal. Unfortunately for me at the time, for all of us at the time, I believe Jack Garcia has been on this show. Jack Garcia, retired FBI agent, also New York Times bestselling author. He did a bunch of like mafia type stuff. So Jack Garcia, Joaquin.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, he has been on the show.
Yeah. So
Joaquin, Jack Garcia.
Yeah. So Jack
back
is
in 2023.
Jack's a mentor, friend as well.
Got it.
And they took down a case he was doing, and somehow out of Florida, it involved dirty Boston cops as well. And all over the news was taken down for a drug protection. Same type of deal, drugs, trucks, and I'm going, oh man, I'm like, we worked so hard to lay this thing out. And now it's all over the news. So now I'm trying to use any verbiage that doesn't say drug protection. I'm like, security. Got to make sure everything's okay because I didn't want it to sound or look like anything that was on TV right then. But it's just, it just happens. The big case gets taken down. It's all over the news. And there I was deep. So we set up a deal. They wanted to help. And really, Joe Dogs and several other members wanted to meet my contacts because what does a drug dealer want? If you're a drug dealer, you want the most pure drugs you can get for the cheapest price you can get it at. So if you've got a pipeline straight from the cartel, you're going to get some very pure stuff, and maybe you can step on it, double or triple your money. So we were lining that all up. And the night before the operation, Joe Dogs said, hey, why don't you come by the clubhouse? Well, for your listeners that don't know, and especially in the 1%er world, there's a mandatory weekly meeting in the biker club, and they refer to that as church. So they were having their church meeting. I think it was a Wednesday night. Yeah, I think it was a Wednesday night or Thursday night, either one. But he says, hey, come over. Well, also the United States Attorney's Office, the assistant United States attorney working the case was like, hey, Scott, are they talking about this kind of stuff in the clubhouse, like about this drug deal and how they're, I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. And he goes, it'd be great to get evidence of that. So, of course, I say I can do it because that's what you do as an undercover. So I show up to the clubhouse, and it's I'm knocking on the door. It's nighttime, which is really the beginning of our shift. And I'm knocking on the door, and Joe Dogs comes up, cracks the door, sticks his face through it, and it's like, hey, we're not ready yet. Well, I was kind of like a smart ass. I'm like, well, why did you tell me to come then? So he tells me to take a probate or a prospect, whatever you want to call it. He goes, take OB, y'all go down, get something to eat, come back. I'm like, all right. So we go get something to eat, get a drink. I come back. Now I go in the clubhouse. Again, it's the night before the op. They don't know it, but we've got 40 kilos of real cocaine, 1,000 pounds of weed, and that's what we're going to move from one truck to another. And they call me into the clubhouse. I go into the clubhouse, and for this clubhouse, if you're not a patch member, you're not allowed to answer the phone. You're not allowed to touch the door. This door is heavily fortified. It's got deadbolts. It's got metal hooks welded on the frame with a steel bar across the door. So I'm in the clubhouse. I've been in there, man, I don't know, 20 times. Who knows? I've been in that clubhouse a lot in a year and a half. And I'm well trusted. And back to your question of patching or not patching. At some point I might have, but the way I explained it to my case team was this. If I'm patching and I'm a probate and they say, hey, Tex is what they call me, Tex. They say, hey, Tex, go get your stuff. We're going to go jack this guy. Can I say no as a probate or a prospect? Not really. Yeah. Can I say, no, you guys go take care of that. Bring me the vehicle. I'll get rid of it.
No, you have to get involved.
I got to get involved.
Put in work.
Yeah. Or I'm going to get beat down or kicked out or both, right. Or worse. Who knows? So we were able to get everything we wanted evidence-wise by me being who I was and doing what I was doing. So now let's fast forward or get us back up to the point to where I'm in that clubhouse the night before the op. I'm in there, and at this point, at a year and a half in, my closest relationship was a guy named Scott. My second closest relationship was Clothesline. He was the enforcer. And then my third was Joe Dogs, the president, if I was ranking them, and then everybody else after that. Well, I'm in the clubhouse. I'm drinking my Jack and Cokes, as always. And Clothesline comes up and says, hey, Tex, you got a minute? And I said, yeah. There's only one door I'd never been in. And he walks me through that door. And as we're walking through that door, I see that it's a very tight stairwell down to basically a crawl space. I mean, you can stand up. It's not a basement, It's like a little shop or something. But you start having that adrenaline dump because as I'm following Clothesline, another outlaw walks in right behind me, and I'm like, oh, man, this is not good. Something's not right. And, of course, I'm wired to the hilt because it's a year and a half in, and I'm trying to get evidence. I've got a video audio recording device. I've got an audio recording device. I've got a listening device. I got all kinds of stuff on me.
This is not like old school devices where it's like a wires running down the middle of your chest.
No, not at that point in time.
These
no.
are just like a little pen or a little button or
Could
something
be.
like that.
Yeah.
You're not going to say?
I won't give away the trade craft. Here's what I'll tell you. Circa 2007, 2008, compared to what you can do now, you can do all kinds of stuff now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like technology.
Sure.
You know, the recorders are getting smaller, the phones are getting smaller, the terabytes getting smaller, but it has like 3 terabytes on it. But I won't give away too much. But now at the narcotics days, yeah, I did the wire. Tape up the wire on your chest. I mean, think of your first undercovers like Joe Pistone and those guys. They had to carry a thing called a Nagra. That thing's like the size of the old recorder. Where do you fit that? Yeah, where do you fit that thing? And it's hot. And it's hot. And it makes clicking sounds when it finishes, you know? You know, what are you going to do? I'm like, man, I'll be wearing some baggy clothes. I don't know where I'm going to hide that thing. But so I go, and he says, hey, you got a minute? And we go down into the basement. And he tells me that there's a lot of shit going on, and it's his job to take care of his brothers because he's the enforcer. He says, I need you to write down your full name, your date of birth, your social, your address, everything. And he says, I'm not going to ask you to write down your kids' names because I told him I was married and had kids. And I'm not going to ask you to write them down, but it's not like we can't find out who they are. I said, all right. And he says, and then I'm going to need you to take all your clothes off because I need to check you for a wire. So because of the adrenaline dump and the stress of the situation, I forgot my middle name. I mean, I know the alias. I built it. It's me. I've been in for years and years, but because of the stress, I forgot my middle name. And when you have that adrenaline dump, it's like if you've ever been through anything traumatic. It could be a car wreck, how everything slows down, like time just slows down.
I've been there.
Yeah, auditory exclusion, everything is going whoosh, whoosh, time dilation in your eyes. But I finally remembered my name. Didn't realize I was giving distraction techniques while I was trying to figure that out. At one point I said, and what else do you need? And they're like, what? I go, my name and what else? Well, then I hear them scream up to a probate saying, hey, what do you need for that website? And I'm like, okay, I know they're going to run me. All right, that's fine, but I'm wired. So I finish that. I take off all of my upper body clothing. This is November, so I'm probably wearing more than one T-shirt. Take all that off, take my boots off. I drop my pants and underwear down around my ankles. So from the ankles up, I'm butt naked. And, you know, had I not been wired, an embarrassing situation, getting naked in front of 2 dudes with guns. By the way, they've already showed me their pistols. I see rope. I didn't see plastic on the floor. I was looking for that. Had I seen that, I probably would have tried to fight. Not that I'm going to do anything. I mean, just picture, church just ended, right? So I'm now down in this crawl space, small basement with 2 outlaws. No, I'm not free to leave. Clothesline's this close to me. Chocolate Scott standing on the steps so I can't get out. And again, they've shown me their pistols. And even if I, by some miracle, got past them and I get upstairs, it's like 10 more outlaws in there with a locked door. You know, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So I do what I was trained to do. I talk. I try not to vapor lock. I'm trying to find out information. But had I not been wired, it had just been embarrassing, but I knew I was wired. So he checks me thoroughly. And then I pull my pants back up, my pants and underwear back up, and he grabs a piece of clothing. I think I'm done. And by the way, if you hear the recording, I do not sound like this. You know I'm scared. The first time my wife ever heard it or watched it with me, she was bawling because I don't think it was so much because it was just hard to listen to kind of thing. She knows me. She knew by the sound of my voice how scared I was because it's way higher. My throat's tighter. I'm talking through my nose. My diction is terrible. I'm trying to figure out I'm having an oh shit moment, you know? So he passed me down. I pull my pants back up and then he grabs that piece of clothing. And he's like, hey, I'm not going to find anything in here I don't want to, right? Like some pictures of my old lady, and he kind of giggles, and I go, I hope not. And there was a recording device in that piece of clothing. And he starts working his hands over it while he's looking at me. And he's getting closer and closer, and he's kneading it with his fingers, which, you know, I won't say what it was and where it was at, but let's just say if he would have kept going up the clothing, he would have felt something. And you can even hear me in the background. Again, I don't know how I do it, but you hear me go, because I'm just standing there watching. I'm not free to leave. And he looks right at it and misses it.
Okay, so let's just say in this situation, he finds the recording device,
Mm-hmm.
pulls out a gun and shoots you in the leg. Does your team then swoop in and arrest everybody?
Probably, yeah, if they can hear it.
So your team is sitting there listening to what's happening.
I didn't think so. And this is why. Because every time I'd been in that clubhouse, to my understanding, they couldn't hear me. Whether it was the walls, the equipment, the area.
Since you're in the basement.
Yeah. So, I mean, look now, it's 2025. I got like great service, but I can walk into one building and I got no signal at all.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think what you're going to ask is what I get asked a lot is this: what would they have done had they found it? Or what would I have done had they found it? And I remember it like it was yesterday. I had two responses. The first response would have been probably a joke, because that's a defense mechanism, but I'm a jokester anyway. If he would have said, "What is this?" I would have said, "I don't know, some pictures of your old lady," because he already threw me that bone. The only other thing I had to say, Vlad, was the gig is up. I'm an undercover FBI agent.
Right.
And I can walk out of here and we can see each other in court, or all hell's going to break loose. But going back to what you said, I thought it would have been a bluff. But what I found out that night when I turned in my equipment is two of the main case team. There was two task force officers, Sergeant Higginbottom with the Massachusetts State Troopers, Detective Cummings with Brockton PD. Whatever happened in that first interaction with me and Joe Dogs made them think something was up, and they had gotten to where they could hear it, and they heard everything. So the way they tell me is, while I'm being stripped at gunpoint, they're radioing back to Boston to whoever's there and whoever's going to be working, telling them, and they're like, "Hey, they got Scott in the basement and they're stripping him and he's wired," and we can hear it. They were on their way with blue lights and sirens. The way Joe and Higgy told me is that they had been in the clubhouse before on just local law enforcement stuff or whatnot. So they knew about the bar on the door and stuff. So they had strapped up, put their vest on and everything. Their plan was, if they felt it was time, or I gave some signal, or they found it or whatever, they were going to drive the van into the wall right beside the door to breach around the door. Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, that was a crazy night.
Well, you ended up passing that test.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day there was $1 million drug deal.
Yeah.
Which you participated in.
Yes.
And the result of this whole situation was that 15 members got arrested.
Yes, not just on the drug charge, but there was extortion. The crimes that were uncovered, of course, we had the insurance fraud, we had theft of auto, carjacking. I said extortion. I think there was some prostitution in there. I don't know, but the drug charge was huge because they were running a wiretap, and I was doing things as well, but they were able to put a decent amount of dope being sold and smuggled, distributed by them.
Well, by 2009, you ended up moving to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yes.
And that's when you got involved in Operation Poetic Justice.
Yes. Yeah, that was a crazy one.